2024 Washington County Board of Commissioners Business Meeting. Clerk Moss, over to you.
Thank you, Chair Harrington. The Washington County Board of Commissioners also meeting as the Board of Clean Water Services Board of Directors and all other county service districts is meeting this regular session February 20th, 2024. Commissioner Treese?
Here.
Commissioner Willie?
Here.
Commissioner Rogers?
Here.
Vice Chair Fye?
Present.
Chair Harrington?
Here. All righty. Next item on the agenda is public communication. Clerk Moss, do we have anyone who wishes to share their thoughts with the board?
I did not.
2 minutes an individual.
I did not see anyone in the room. Would anyone in the auditorium wish to provide public comment on any county-related topic for up to 2 minutes? Give you just a moment to raise your hand, stand forward, come forward. Not seeing anyone in the room. Would anyone on Zoom wish to provide public comment for up to 2 minutes to the board on any county-related topic? Give you just a moment to utilize raise hand function. Not seeing any hands. Chair Harrington.
Thank you. Next, we have today's consent agenda, which consists of 9 items, 2 sets of minutes, 2 items from Facilities, Fleet, and Parks, 2 items from Health and Human Services, 1 item from Human Resources, and 2 items from Land Use and Transportation. What are the wishes of the Commission?
Second.
Before we take a vote on that, I just want to say a couple of thank yous. I appreciate on item C4 that our Parks team is following up on that opportunity. And on item 5, with regard to the Behavioral Health Resource Network, I just want to recognize that we have that item because we don't often get to give voice to our Behavioral Health Advisory Council and the work of the Resource Network. Also on C7, which is a human resources item, I want to compliment the organization on the clarity and specificity of this work. Thank you very much. Good work. So we have a motion and a second to adopt today's consent agenda with all 9 items. All those in favor, please vote by raising your hand. Thank you, Commissioners. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously 5-0. Next, we have boards and commissions. So today we're talking about the Planning Commission. We have a recommendation to appoint Jared Whips to the Planning Commission for a 4-year term expiring January 31st, 2028. What are the wishes of the Commission?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please vote by raising your hand or saying aye. Thank you, Commissioners. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Whips, for joining our Planning Commission. Next, we'll move on to presentations, and today we're getting our quarterly update from our housing experts on the implementation of the Metro Affordable Housing Bond, as well as the supportive housing services. And this is part of ensuring that our community has full access to the best information that our team is implementing to meet the needs of affordable housing and management of homelessness across our community. So I'll turn it over to the director of our housing services team, Molly Rogers.
Good morning, Chair Harrington and Commissioners. For the record, my name is Molly Rogers. I use she, her pronouns, and I serve as the Director of Housing Services in the Housing Authority of Washington County. I'm eager to be here with you to share some important updates coming from the Affordable Housing Bond and our supportive housing services programming. Today I'm joined by staff from our Homeless Services Division and from our development team to get in the details of our work of the community accomplished in the second quarter of this fiscal year, so from October to December. Whenever possible, we seek opportunities to leverage both resources to create integrated communities for those experiencing or at risk of imminent homelessness. I know my team will share most of the details, but I would be remiss not to acknowledge the many monumental work accomplished this third quarter. Thank you to Chair Harrington and Commissioner Fye for sharing your voice of strong support as we opened up a new pod village in Aloha to bring in our friends and neighbors from the cold. We had a strong showing of community leaders, including Commissioner Treese, and I continue to be very, very grateful for the strong, steadfast leadership of this commission and the work we do. I'd like to now turn it over to Nicole Sting to kick off our quarterly reports. Let me switch with you.
Thank you for the grace while we played musical chairs. For the record, my name is Nicole Sting. I use she, her pronouns. I serve as your Strategic Initiatives and Relations Manager in the Homeless Services Division. And we'll go ahead and get started with some important updates. Just as Director Rogers did, I want to start with celebrating some of the recent wins. If we're not going to share our story, no one else will, so let me share that loud and proud. We're really excited that recently we housed our 100th ARLA household. That's a person with a regional long-term rental assistance program.
1,000.
1,000, thank you, important correction there. 1,000, yes, thank you. Let's take a moment to celebrate. We've also, in the last 9 months alone, have opened 3 pod villages, which is 90 pod shelters for folks experiencing homelessness. And on top of that, we're doing a great job. Of course, there's more work to do, but we're doing a great job of moving folks from unsheltered homelessness to shelter and then into housing. And also proud to celebrate the win of exceeding Governor Kotek's Executive Order 2303 goals. We're really proud that we were able to house so many households in the last year. And just launching right into the update, we've done quite a bit of work this quarter to stabilize our system of care. As the Commission knows well, we recently launched the Homeless Solutions Advisory Council. You'll see the initial cohort of 10 incredibly fabulous folks working across the housing continuum, intersecting with education, youth, healthcare, and other vital services. This group of folks had met for the first time in January, so a little bit after quarter 2, but we did get them seated and nominated in quarter 2, and we're excited and eager to see how this group will support our overall work as a division and help guide and provide guidance and advice for how we look at our system writ large. This is our forest update, right? Our Solutions Council will help provide guidance on the forest. The other updates you see on the slides are the trees. These are the small things we're moving. They're vital and incredibly important, including reducing the speed of payments to our service providers from 49 days to 19 days. Thank you to our folks in the business operations branch for supporting that work. We're also launching improvements to coordinated entry, as well as, and this is maybe a little wonky, but the most exciting part, and that's providing monthly report cards to our service providers. It's a monthly indicator. How are you doing on your goals? Are you on track? What interventions do you need? And how can we support you in getting to those interventions? So when we talk about stabilizing a system of care, it's not the really exciting Homeless Solutions Advisory Council, that's all of it. It's also these little weeds of how do we make tweaks around the edges to improve our system and keep people moving through the process. My colleague will talk more about that in a moment, but I do want to just highlight it's the small things we can do as we've built this large system to stabilize ourselves and make sure we're on the right path. And to check in on something that is often discussed when it comes to supportive housing services and the counties, I want to share the good news that we are outpacing our projected spending. We're still on track with our budget, but we are doing well. This speaks to how we've supported our partners in providing supportive housing services, and it speaks to the confidence we have in our system to continue to scale up to meet the need and to scale up to meet the increased SHS resources coming from Metro. So we're incredibly excited to do that both in this quarter, and as you know well, we also have exciting plans for quarter 3 and beyond. With that, I will pass things over to my colleague, Catherine Gallion, to discuss some of our targets and how we're doing on the goals we've collectively set.
Thank you, Nicole. For the record, I'm Catherine Gallion, Program Manager with the Department of Housing Services, Homeless Services Division. Thank you all for your time this morning. We are happy to share this morning. We are tracking our progress towards our annual goals and already have exceeded our eviction prevention goal. We were able to allocate additional resources this year and add a second provider. So both Community Action and Central Cultural are now providing eviction prevention assistance, and they're both working in collaboration with the eviction court and other culturally specific providers to make sure that we're serving those that are most vulnerable and at risk of experiencing eviction and homelessness. We are also on track to achieve our shelter bed creation goal. So we met 30 in the second quarter, and just a couple of weeks ago with the opening of the Aloha Safe Rest Pods, we have achieved that goal, and that data will be reflected in quarter 3. For our housing goals, we are both long-term and short-term housing placements are slightly behind our target for the year. This is not particularly concerning at this point, as we often see kind of a slower than normal lease-ups during the summertime and then pick back up for the rest of the year. However, we do want to make sure that we are not just achieving but exceeding all of those goals. And so we'll continue to work really closely with our providers and landlords in the community to make sure that we are maximizing our contracted capacity and really focusing this year, as Nicole mentioned, on professionalizing the workforce, focusing on supporting supervisors within our partner agencies and program managers to lead their teams and to guide newer housing navigators through managing caseloads and communicating the value of their services to landlords, especially for the rapid rehousing programs that are a little bit shorter in duration. Our data and program teams have worked really closely together to develop those monthly report cards and scorecards that Nicole mentioned earlier, and those provide the agency staff and leadership with the information they need to address data quality issues that might be contributing to underreporting the outcomes, but also giving them the opportunity to course correct as needed and make sure that we are collectively achieving our goals. And we're also moving into phase 2 of our annual reports that will allow for the extension of our accountability processes and practices into the SHS-funded projects. So this will mean that we'll be able to use the data from the annual reports and outcomes to make determinations for 24-25 contract extensions and allocations. We are also focusing on diversion and graduations, so making sure that folks who don't need to come into a housing program have other opportunities to access housing, and that means launching our move-in ready funds to codify and systematize the practice of helping people who are ready to exit homelessness and can maintain housing on their own by making a specific fund available to help with deposits and first month's rent. And then we began implanting processes to identify households who are ready to graduate from programs, either because they've increased income to the extent that they no longer require assistance to maintain housing, or if they still need housing assistance but no longer the intensive support services, we're creating exit pathways for them, which allows us to bring in new households. And then another key component of the system that's coming in Q3 is our ability to address unsheltered homelessness and expanding capacity, operating hours, and services at our access centers. So that NOFA dropped last week, and its intent is to establish geographically accessible access centers that meet the daily needs of our unsheltered populations. And so with that, yes?
Before we move towards affordable housing and off of SHS, I'd like to see if any of my colleagues have any questions with regard to the Q2 results or looking forward.
And maybe I'm getting a little bit ahead of you on that. Thank you for that opportunity, Chair. Just looking at your slides that you were showing goals and what we've accomplished so far. We still got
Housing slots and nope, it's the eviction prevention and shelter beds.
Yeah, and the shelter beds especially, I guess I was looking at just from the standpoint of we've been really successful so far. Do we have anything in the queue looking out there? Are we gonna have difficulty meeting the second half of our year And what's our opportunities?
Great, thank you for asking that question. So we are on track to kind of reach our system capacity, and we'll be opening 2 new permanent sites in the next year and probably the following year, and we'll transition existing capacity into those buildings as opposed to necessarily creating more. So we are right now at 426 plus or minus beds system-wide, and our intent is to maintain at that level.
And if it's all right, Chair and Commissioner, just a piece of detail so we clear it on the record. The shelter bed goal has been met for this year, just was not met by Q2. So I want to make sure that is clear on the record.
And I really appreciate the team's follow-up so that the temporary shelters are being replaced by permanent shelters with different construction projects completing, as Ms. Gallion said, over the next year and 2. So one question that your presentation made me realize that I would appreciate at some point, it's not urgent, maybe it'll come through an annual report, right? So I'm totally open to when. But I know the program, through all your reports, it's been very clear that with having the voter gift of the funding to do this work, that you've really built a system, and you continue to expand and improve that system. And you, for example, you talked here about the training and professionalizing the workforce. What would help me is there's the staff not only through the county, but also through all the partners. And I don't have a feel today for how that at what level that workforce is now, and how you've had to, I'm not looking for specifics about how the workforce has grown necessarily, but there's been this ramp up. And I just don't feel grounded in the sizing of that workforce. And I think that I would like to be able to bring voice to how you have grown the workforce across all of our partner agencies, nonprofit groups, community-based organizations, whatever term folks care to use. So, thank you very much. Oh, Commissioner Fye, sorry, I did not do a good job of looking to see if you had any questions before I went. My apologies. Was there anything you had a question on?
No worries, Chair Harrington. No, I do not have a question. I was shaking my head to you. No.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, then we'll move on to affordable
Can I
housing.
just make one more quick comment? And this is in regards to your eviction prevention. You know, we've talked all this time for several years. This is the way we stem the homeless numbers going up. So you're exceeding the goal. Good job on that. I think that's a very important first step.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Harrington and members of the board. For the record, my name is Andrew Crampton. I'm a development manager with the Department of Housing Services. Going to give a quick update on the affordable housing bond. As folks know, we're really in full implementation mode with the program, monitoring projects as they proceed through construction primarily, and then working on really kind of the lease-up tracking of demographics and results of metrics such as workforce and COVID certification, making sure the projects are progressing as expected. So really moving forward with over 500 new homes in 4 communities. This year we're going to roll through these projects. We'll have 3 projects that will complete construction, and that will really be then 9 projects completed, 1 project that closed last spring that will complete construction later this fall with Planbeck Gardens, and then 2 projects in pre-development. So really just implementing the program, really meeting all our goals. especially the goal for homes built for families doing really well with 2-bedroom or more projects. That goal will be substantially exceeded this year with delivery. And it's really interesting when we see these family-serving projects, really the amenities on the ground floor that are able to serve and meet those needs. So really having these buildings that scale well based on the individual folks being served, whether it's a senior building or a family building, being able to actually see at the grand opening how the building is going to function has been really one of the things I've really enjoyed as these projects are delivered. You see there the alongside apartments that was delivered this fall. Great partnership with the city of Tigard, and had a nice groundbreaking, grand opening celebration earlier this fall, really being able to see all the partners that were brought together. And that building's almost completed their lease up. Done really well working with our rental assistance team with both the project-based vouchers, but also our veterans serving vouchers or VASH vouchers. Being able to lease up that building quickly shows the great work by the project sponsor and all of the partners being able to celebrate with the fun ribbon cutting that you see. Another project that's been completed, it's in Aloha, just off of TV Highway, is Cedar Rising. That was sponsored by Bridge Housing. They have 2 projects in our pipeline, both Cedar Rising and then Altura will be complete early this summer as well. And really similar buildings and family-serving buildings in style. They've been flying on their lease up. They completed construction in mid-December, and by the end of December, they already had 38 residents moving in. So that's great. It definitely shows the demand for housing and family housing, but nice to see the team really doing well in their lease up and getting the building fully completed and lease up likely in the next couple of months.
When can we get a walkthrough of that?
There's a plan for a grand opening in April, or a celebration in April. I'm sure we could do something sooner, but the team wants to get the lease up completed and then have the party. So the job's fully done. So, but yeah, absolutely. That will be a great building to tour at any time, but there'll definitely be a public celebration as well. Another great project that will be completed this spring is Plaza Los Amigos. You can see the skin of the building and really the size and scale. I really love this aerial photo that shows just the ability that building is going to provide, and the futsal court is moving forward as well, so that'll be a fun amenity. You can see the sidewalks being laid as well outside of the building during the winter months even. So they're really just pushing ahead with a spring completion. So that'll be a great project. That's interesting too, in that you have 2 nonprofit developers, Reach CDC and Vienna Star, co-developing the project. Really shows, I think, the connection that both those 2 entities to have, and that's not always common to have 2 kind of project sponsors. So really kudos to that team, and really the scale that they're able to bring to Cornelius is really shown in that image. And then the final 2 remaining projects that are in pre-development. The first one, Woodland Hearth, is planning on closing later this fall. They're working through some infrastructure that they're facilitating with the city of Tigard with their pump station component. So that'll be a fall closing and will be finally the final marker to exceed all of our 30% unit goals as a county. And then the 209th will be the final project in the Metro Bond queue. The Housing Authority Board earlier this month approved the Housing Authority to move forward with pre-development, and working now on outreach with Unite Oregon. So that'll be a great final completion to the Metro Bond program with the 12th project on 209th. That is the end of the Metro Bond proponent of the presentation. Myself and the rest of our staff are here to take questions.
Thank you, Andrew. Commissioners, do you have any questions on this part? Go ahead, Commissioner
I'd just like
Treese.
to make a
Is your mic
comment.
on? Yep.
Apparently from before. I'd like to make a comment about the Cornelius Plaza de los Migos. I went to the groundbreaking of that, and it was like 110 degrees that day or something. It was terrible, but it is just stunning to see the size of this. It's just amazing. I went to the ice cream truck, or we had different things out there, and when I was there, there was all the hope. This is the reality, and it's like I said, it's stunning, and my congratulations, and especially to the two organizations that are working so well together.
And the size of it is reflective of the scale of need.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's
absolutely.
really notable. Many of these projects are maximizing the footprint. This one is as well, but this one has a little bit more of a size opportunity, particularly given the innovation of the private market housing that will be occurring to the east or to our right, looking at the picture. Great stuff. Thank you very much. A lot of work by the full team to create more affordable housing and to ensure that those who have been chronically homeless or at risk of entering homeless have a way, a journey, a path, a real life path and assistance towards stable housing now and into their near future. Thank you very much for all the follow-up. Go team, go. And I would also compliment the team. I'll speak about more of this in our work session today, but I want to also mention that our team collaborated with the City of Beaverton on the neighborhood meeting for the Beaverton temporary shelter last night, and I was reminded that one of the reasons why our temporary shelters are important is that without them, the provisions of the camping ordinances with time, place, and manner can't be enforced. So it's another tool in our community to help ensure that we're able to provide for vibrant, healthy communities that support people and the humanitarian need that we all have across Washington County. Okay, next we're on to our second public comment period for this meeting. This is an opportunity for members of our community to speak to the board for up to 5 minutes an individual. Clerk Moss, do we have anyone who wishes to do so?
Thank you, Chair Harrington. I did not see anyone come into the auditorium. Would any member that came in the auditorium wish to provide public comment for up to 5 minutes on any county-related topic? Give you just a moment to raise your hand, come forward, get my attention. Not seeing anyone in the room. Would any members online via Zoom wish to provide public comment for up to 5 minutes on any county-related topic? Give you just a moment to utilize raise hand function. Not seeing any hands. Chair Harrington.
All right, thank you. Next, we'll move on to board announcements. I'll announce our upcoming meetings. Next Tuesday will be the last Tuesday of the month of February already. Work session will start at 2 in the afternoon, and then we'll have our board meeting in the evening at 6:30. Then we're on to the month of March already. Holy smokes. Tuesday, March 5th, we'll start our work session at 9 in the morning, reconvene likely at 1 in the afternoon, and we'll have our pair of the Housing Authority Board of Directors meeting starting at 10, and then the Washington County Board of Commissioners and Clean Water Services board meeting will start immediately following that. On Thursday, March 7th, we have a roundtable starting at 9 a.m. On Tuesday, March 12th, we'll have a work session only that day starting at 9 a.m. On Tuesday, March 19th, Please note that our last meeting of the month will be on March 19th, a little sooner. So work session at 2 in the afternoon, a board meeting at 6:30 p.m. because the following week, Tuesday, March 26th, that week is public school spring vacation week, and so we will not be meeting that week. So just supporting our workforce and our community during the month of March. And I don't know about you, but I'm ready for spring. So saw my first blooming daffodil this weekend, and crocus too. So that's it from me for board announcements. Are there any from the board for this meeting? Okay, well, seeing none, do we have a motion to adjourn today's meeting? And we will be reconvening in work session right after this meeting? Or is it time certain?
We can do it by
It'll
about
be in 10
10:45. Yeah.
10:45. So all those in favor of adjourning the board meeting, please raise your hand. Thank you, commissioners. Any opposed? This meeting is adjourned, and we'll reconvene at work session at 10:45. Thank you.